Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the Designer, Tom Waddle here at Halas, your home, away from home.
Well, I never practiced here or played here back in the day when I was playing. We were all the way back at Lake Forest College, so the facilities were not quite as grand as they are here.
Yeah, it still kind of counts as a home, though, right? You get to walk in, you get to see some
familiar faces.
I feel like you show up at the door and you go Tom Waddle and they go right this way to your suite, sir.
That's not necessarily true, but I did spend about 20 minutes today talking to the big boss in charge, George McCaskey, outside.
You and George, you had him laughing a little bit.
We were talking about grandkids and stuff. Not a whole lot of football conversation going on.
You're doing the Caleb Williams when he's upstairs. Talking to Ben Johnson. Not all football. Yeah,
exactly. We're talking about the family. It was more about family than it was about football, to be honest with you.
I love it. I love it. We got a lot to get into. Day one here of training camp. Things are getting started. People are panicking in the streets, Waddle. Cats are chasing dogs. But it is day one of training camp. Of course, the big story today, Luther Burden, still nowhere to be seen. I think that's a little surprising. Got to talk about Caleb Williams getting pulled from a drill.
I loved it. I thought that was the highlight of the day. And listen, I'll put this in perspective. This is what I wanted. This is what they all talked about. Hold me accountable. Coach me hard.
When we were walking out, what did you tell me? I want to see Ben Johnson yell at somebody.
I did.
For a good reason.
Yeah.
But I want to see Ben Johnson yell at somebody.
I would have taken Ben just yelling at the sky. I just wanted to see a coach yell, but that was just the start of camp. I thought it was great. Yeah. For the following reason, because look, again, I think it's normal. I don't think this is an overreaction. I don't think that, last year they all wanted to be held accountable. They all wanted to be coached harder. I don't think this is an overcorrection. I think this is the way it should be. This is the way it's going to be with Ben Johnson. When you don't do what they're asking you to do, you're going to be reprimanded.
Yeah.
And look, he gave them a couple of opportunities just to kind of paint the picture. They were coming out of the huddle. Yeah, and they couldn't get the play right. So he called them back into the huddle. They tried it again the third time. He just said, get out. And I don't know if it was Case Keenum or it was Tyson or
Case Keenum came in.
Okay, so Case came in with the second group. But that's the way it should be. Like if you can't handle the basics, then we need to bring in somebody that can handle the basics. And I'm sure that this is practice one, put it all into perspective. But this is what has me excited about this coaching staff. They are going to hold you accountable, and the little things are big things. And if you can't do the little things, you're not going to be able to do the big things. So I didn't like seeing the lack of efficiency coming out of the huddle and actually just running a play. But I love the fact that the coach was coaching. There were a couple of other instances where they blew things dead because whether the motion was wrong or they took too long getting out of the huddle. Yeah. I was glad it looked like a mess today because I want the precedent to be set. I want I want the table to be set that, look, this is the way it's going to be all camp.
Yeah.
When you do things well, we're going to praise you. When you don't do things well, we're going to coach you.
Yeah.
So I wish it was, I guess in some ways I wish it was flawless. But in other ways, kind of like for the first practice, I was kind of a little bit glad that it didn't go swimmingly and you got an opportunity to see the tone that is being set by the head coach and his entire staff.
Yeah.
Now, Dennis Allen will get after your ass as well defensively if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So no panic on my behalf. But just love the fact that the coach that you gave $13 million a year to come in and set the tone did exactly that, I think, in the first day of camp.
I was super excited to see it. I thought that it continued what we saw at rookie minicamp here. We got to dive a little deeper into that. We do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura and drive off in under 60 minutes so they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Las Vegas style gaming, just 30 minutes from Soldier Field, exit 6 right off of I-80. 94. Now, you bring up that moment, but I think the bigger problem today was that it wasn't until the 7-on-7 drill that Caleb Williams completed a pass at all. The 11-on-11 initially looked like a struggle for him. Seemed like they were struggling to get the call in 7-on-7.
So you're saying they didn't complete 70% of his passes today?
They did not complete 70% of his passes. We are not there. We're starting at about 10% right now, but I do think
can only go up.
it wasn't just Ben Johnson coming in here trying to prove I'm the big dog. I need to come out swinging and let you guys know who I am. It was, hey, let's get it right, guys. Hey, let's get it right, guys. Hey, let's get it right.
Yeah.
You know what? No, you're done. And I can't continue to watch this. Case, go out there and show him how it's done. And to Case's credit, the very next pass was a completion over the middle.
Well, that was two things that I thought were that struck me as most relevant were Ben Johnson was in full control of this offense today, and when he didn't like what he saw, he stopped things and coached guys up. And for the first time in a long time, I saw them throw the football over the middle of the field, which I thought was just a revelation, So I saw Cole catch one over the middle. I thought I saw the kid they brought in from Miami as the free agent, the local kid, Smythe, I think is his name.
Durham Smythe, yep.
Yeah,
Durham
I think
Smythe,
he caught one over the middle as well. But this is the way it's going to look early. I mean, I'm not giving anyone a pass when it's the ball's in the air for the first game of the season, Monday night against the Minnesota Vikings. But at this moment, it's an entirely new language. It's a new system. It's a new everything. Yeah. So, I thought last year just playing the position at the NFL level is hard enough for Caleb. But I also, I pointed it out. There are so many things for him to learn. Like in college, the game has deteriorated to the point in terms of what you're asking guys to do.
The snap count.
You don't even get into a huddle. You just look to the side and somebody gesticulates something, and then that's your play call. And then, like, nothing happens. At the NFL level, you get in and out of a huddle. You got to call the play, which takes time. You got to get to the line of scrimmage. You got to set protection. Then you're going to have a lot of pre-snap motion with this offense. So then the ball's got to be snapped. So there are some things that I think that are going to be a bit confusing, and they're going to look disjointed early on. And that's okay. I didn't sweat it. I got kind of a giggle out of there, and I don't mean to be disrespectful and to patronize anybody, but I was just glad. I was glad to see a coach get pissed off and express himself, not just yelling at someone, trying to demean someone, but to try to coach them up. So, it's going to be confusing a little bit to start. Look at how many different components you have. And like I said, it's a new offense, and there are going to be moments like this, but this is where that the coaching is taking hold and taking an effect is that as you gradually go through training camp, those mistakes happen less and less often.
Yeah. So. And what I love about it, too, was when the first thing I did after special teams drill comes in, I'm sorry, I wasn't locked in on the special teams drill, even though there was a new one.
1/3 of the game.
Yeah, I was
offense, defense, and special teams.
I was more worried about my quarterback on the other side of the field after getting pulled out of a drill. But I look down there, and it's Ben Johnson talking with Caleb Williams and explaining to him what needs to happen. And I don't know what he said, but just seeing that after, hey, yes, this happened. We can improve from this. I thought when Caleb came back on that third 11-on-11, it's not like he was pulled from practice or the first team offense was pulled from practice. But when he came back in that 11-on-11, he threw two really nice passes to Cole Kmet. He threw one pass to DJ Moore that Jaquan Brisker ends up tipping it, but it's one of those passes where it's like you're the only person that's going to catch this is DJ, or it's going to get knocked away. Good defense by Jaquan. And then another play with Devin Duvernay, if he keeps running, it hits him dead in the chest. Caleb's throwing to a spot. I thought he bounced back in a way where it was like, okay, I know what I need to do. I understand this. I just need to calm myself down. And his coach helped him with that.
Yeah, there's the other thing that I saw today that caught my attention is there wasn't a ton of scrambling around aimlessly after you would have been sacked.
No.
And then just looking. It almost, this is what I got frustrated watching last year. Like when a play would be dead, they just let it go.
Yeah.
And I think a quarterback can develop bad habits. And it was one of the questions I had for Ben that we didn't get to when we saw him at the combine, and hopefully we'll talk to him at some point during training camp, is like, what is his philosophy on stuff like that? Because when you get into padded practices and a defender has a beat on the quarterback, or it's a sure sack, blow the play dead. I mean, I think you're giving you're creating an opportunity for a quarterback to develop bad habits. And I didn't see any of that really today. There were a couple. I was talking with someone on the sideline today. I said, look, I value taking care of the football. I'd rather see Caleb throw 30 touchdown passes and 13 interceptions than see him throw 20 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions the way he did this year. Because I don't want you to be reckless, but I want you to take chances.
And that's what the 6 was. He has the record. How many of those 6 are? Well, I put it in the 3rd row, so of course nobody caught it.
Right. So I want to see that change this year, and I thought that at least in one practice, that was one thing I noticed, that there wasn't this crazy scrambling around when a play would have naturally been blown dead. He either threw the ball, or I think he just held it at one point and the play was dead, which is what they should practice.
Literally blew one dead. He stood back there. He's like, no one's open.
Yeah.
And they
I
blew
think
the play
especially
dead.
with Caleb, because I think the thing that he's really going to have to work on, this is a detailed offense where Ben Johnson's going to ask you to do things in a specific fashion.
Yeah.
Because there is a benefit to doing it this way, because you've seen the positive reinforcement of watching Jared Goff play in this offense and take his game to another level. So there's a method to the madness. So I think that stuff like that is really more important, and he's got to learn to play on time. And when you see him throw the ball away or just eat it or dirt it, as we like to say, I think it shows growth. I really do.
Yeah, 100%. It was the one thing he even said yesterday at the press conference, where he said, I need to trust, either that the check down is there or just get rid of it. I don't need to go for the home run play every time down the field.
That's how you get to 70% completion rate. There was 20 guys in the league last year that played at least 10 games, quarterbacks that completed at least 67% of their passes. Now, Ben has said that 70% is their goal. I think it's mandatory in this offense. You got to hit 67%. That's the game. That's the game in 2025 is you're going to get enough tunnel screens and layups and chip shots that you should be able to hit, 2/3 of your passes. And it also will tell me, like, there was talk yesterday, like Ben said 70% is our completion. I'm glad he went there.
Lofty goal.
Caleb said 4,000 yards. Yeah. And I'm fine with both. What's more important to me is the 70%, because the 70% is going to tell me, or close to it, 67% is where I would set it. It tells me that he's understanding the offense, he's playing on time, and he's playing within the structure of the offense without completely neutering him, because he does have, a gift of being able to make something out of nothing. You just can't do that on every play. But the higher completion percentage will lead to more passing yards, and it'll lead, more importantly, to more wins. I guarantee you that if you complete 70% of your passes, you're going to win more than you lose. And I'm not necessarily that sure if you throw for 4,000 yards, because you can find yourself trailing by 3 touchdowns and have a 300-yard passing day and still walk away with an L. So for me, completion percentage, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, and sack totals are the two most important stats for me with Caleb this year, because it tells me that he's playing within the confines of the offense, he's playing on time, and he's playing more efficiently. The 4,000-yard thing, fine. I don't criticize him for having that goal. Those yards will come with a 70% completion rate.
That's what I was going to say. It almost feels impossible to not get 4,000 yards with a 70% completion.
If you hit 70% of your passes,
unless you're like, you got Saquon Barkley back there with the Eagles' offensive line. Yeah. Like, well, think about last year. Hard to do that.
He threw for what? Just under 3,600 last year and completed 62.5% of his passes. Yeah. So the more the more accuracy that you're able to display out there, your passing yards are going to go up. So
you would hope. And I look at the quarterbacks that did it last year. You mentioned the win totals too. Like, I don't think anyone looks at the Seahawks and say, you had this world beater season last year, but Geno Smith completed 70% of his passes. Yeah. They found 10 wins.
Yeah.
The Bengals defense was one of the worst in football.
Yeah.
They still found a way to win 9 games because Joe Burrow's out there completing 71% of his passes.
It's
like,
crazy.
You find ways to win games when you are completing at that level, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's an understanding of the offense that's at a different capacity.
Well, and I think all you have to do is look to Washington and see what Jaden Daniels did last year. Jaden Daniels didn't throw for 4,000 yards. Now, he had a significant total with regard to rushing yardage, but he played the position. What I was so impressed with him was he played with such poise and played under control and knew when to tuck and run and when to actually buy time and when to get rid of the ball quickly and take his layups. And I think Caleb definitely has the capacity to do that, especially under the guidance of Ben Johnson. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And when he doesn't do it, I'll be on the sideline cheering for Ben to rip him a new one.
Can you have it both ways, where I think Bears fans are really looking to see something happen quickly, because Ben Johnson is coming in and saying, this is a race. This is not a lot of coaches come in and they say, it's a long road. Ben Johnson's like, we got 6 weeks to figure a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
This is a race. We need to get it done now. But also, a lot of Bears fans are going to go, it's training camp. It's day one. It's going to take some time. Can you have it both ways?
Yeah, you can, for sure. It is going to take some time. But I think that there's a chance that, by the time you're done with training camp, that you're ready to play opening game of the season against the Vikings. And, I'm not ruling out that they'll look good. They should look good.
Yeah.
I mean, you've made upgrades pretty much everywhere. Did the Chargers – claim that, this is our first year with Jim Harbaugh? No, they went from 5-12 to 11-6.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it was so quick. And I've said this about Kyle Shanahan, Harbaugh's impact in both places he went. Like
Kevin O'Connell's done it.
When the coach is right, Waddle.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like we get the Dan Campbell situation where it takes a few years to get it right, and that's what we've had here. Give him some time. Even Matt Nagy, his first year, all of a sudden the winning just happened. Like when you know what you're doing, although Nagy may a little bit different, it seems like it doesn't take much time. Like it should hit the ground running fairly quickly.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're going to look like the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs or the Detroit Lions of last year in weeks 1, 2, or 3. But I'm done giving this team a pass.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave them a pass last year. My prediction of 10 wins. I knew that they needed to change the coach. I knew they didn't have enough pass protection. I knew they didn't have enough pass rush, but my dumb ass sit there and say, 10 wins.
Yeah.
I'm not, look, you've invested millions of dollars fixing the interior of your offensive line. You got the coach that I was begging for from day one. The quarterback I believe in. You drafted him first overall. You gave him another weapon with Loveland and Luther Burden. You invested money on the defensive line. I mean, my expectation level is that you come out and you don't. You
look like a football team of the
modern era. Don't
era.
Soil yourself. I mean,
can we have a week one without soiling ourselves?
Well, the newness to me is I get it. There are going to be some bumps, but it's not going to be a pass. I mean, you assembled a fantastic coaching staff. So my interpretation is that all these guys are going to have guys ready to play, and you should. And you're a pro. I mean, so. Get out there and do what you've been paid to do. And that goes for all the coaches and the players. And I'm just not going to bury my head in the sand and say, well, this is year one of a new staff. It's going to, there's a good chance that it could go poorly or it's not going to be as good as you want. Again, tell the Vikings that.
Yeah.
Tell Washington that. Nobody had Washington in the NFC title game, did they? With a rookie quarterback and a new coaching staff. Nobody had the Chargers going from 5-12 to 11-6. Maybe some of us did because we were all clamoring for Jim Harbaugh.
We kind of knew what Jim was going to do. It's what Jim does.
But yeah, I mean, is it going to look perfect day one of training camp? No. Is it going to look better a week from now? It should.
Yeah.
Week one, I'm expecting them to look like an NFL franchise.
Yeah, that's the hope here. We do have some concerns still early on outside of just what's on the field. No Luther Burden today and didn't really see him. I saw Brad Biggs tweet out earlier that he had been dealing with a hamstring issue. The team has not announced that as of yet, but any concern with you on the Luther Burden front right now?
I wouldn't say concern, but I would say it's on my radar for sure. I mean, so that put to rest any thought also, well, maybe it was a combined issue that, he's been dealing with this and, he was a high second round pick. So a lot of us thought also that played into him not being available, but not having him out there today. I'm not going to lie. It was a bit of a surprise to me. I thought we'd see him out there today. I was excited to see him out there. Did see Colston Loveland out there who's doing individual work. He really didn't participate in team, but
it's a big boy.
He is.
So shockingly big. It's like
he's a big guy.
It reminds me of when Cole first came to the team. It was like, I didn't know they made people that big.
I can tell you too, like there are a lot of people that are writing Cole's football obituary here in Chicago, and I'm not so sure that that's the case, at least in 2025. I'm excited to see how Ben Johnson uses a 2 tight end set. I think you're going to see a lot of the 12 personnel that he used in Detroit, and I think Cole's going to finally be used in a manner which accentuates his strengths. He's an inline wide tight end. I think he'll come in here with a chip on his shoulder and a desire to prove that, hey, last year was not a great year, but I can still play this game. And I'm really interested to see how Loveland gets integrated into this offense as well. So back to Luther Burden though. Yeah, I'm not, it's too early to be concerned, but it's on my radar. I mean, and because look, I think they're going to use him in some really creative ways. I mean, I have football dreams about having DJ and him in split backfield. because you could talk about the running back situation. It's not the same situation that Ben Johnson had in Detroit. So he's going to have to find some ways, not to only integrate.
We saw DJ Moore handoff today. We did, actually.
And I think, think about that. Like you've got Rome, you got 2 tight ends, and I got Luther Burden and DJ in the backfield. And somebody's, pre-snap motion. Somebody is, shifting. Like, I think there's some really interesting things that really can be integrated into this offense. And the sooner the better for Luther Burden to get out there and give us a look at what he can do.
Oddly enough, I feel like because of all the weapons you just mentioned, like it's like I'm concerned because he's a second-round pick, and you want your second-round picks to be out there. You want your high draft capital to be on the field at all times. But Olamide Zaccheaus is a pro in this league, and it has been somebody who has been very good in the slot. Oddly enough, with Jaden Daniels last season, right?
Yeah.
You've got Colston Loveland who can fit into that role as well. Like, not to say that you don't need Luther Burden this season, but you do have an embarrassment of riches of guys that you could plug in there. And I think even with how Ben Johnson run things, don't be surprised if we see Rome in the slot at times. Don't be surprised if we see DJ in the slot at times. Like, there's a lot of options for him.
Well, think about this as well. Burden was pick what? Was he
39.
39. So he's high second-round pick.
Yes.
That was kind of a luxury pick. I didn't expect
100%.
that. Colston Loveland was taken at what, 10?
10.
I have a very strong feeling that those were Ben Johnson picks.
Yeah.
So if you don't think Ben Johnson's going to try to justify those picks by getting these guys involved, not just to prove to the world that he knows what he's doing, but he feels that these guys give him the best opportunity to have the most explosive offense out there. I think you're going to see a lot of Luther Burden III, and you're going to see the ball go to Colston Loveland quite a bit. Otherwise, Ben Johnson would not have taken them. I mean, they have a need at pass rusher. Like, instead of using the 10th pick on a pass rusher or the 39th pick on a pass rusher, they use those picks on weapons for the offense. So I don't see them not getting the football. It's something that Sylvia and I have talked about too with Ozzie Trapillo. It's a good point that he made that look, my rooting interest for your starting left tackle is going to be Ozzie Trapillo, not just because he comes from Boston College and I played football with his dad in college.
Feels like it.
Not true. But if you're going to use a second-round pick on a guy, you know, and it wouldn't mean if he doesn't start the season as your starting left tackle that, oh, this was a horrible pick. It may take some time. But what if Ozzie comes out and grabs hold of that left tackle position and just never lets it go?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now you can bounce Braxton Jones in and be a rotational guy. And, you know, they still have a contractual decision to make on him as well. So I think it would make life easier on everybody. And I think the optimal thing is for all of these second round picks to establish themselves, because I think they're going to be given an opportunity to be difference makers, because I think they were all Ben Johnson picks.
Yeah, I said the same with Ozzie. The one thing I've said is I don't care who's blocking on the left side, Tommy. I just want somebody to keep my quarterback up from the left side. I watched Jay Cutler get his head taken off from the left side for his entire time here in Chicago. I don't think Mitch ever had a left tackle standing in front of him. I know Justin didn't have a left tackle standing in front of him. We went and got the 40-year-old. What was the big boy from Dallas?
God, I forgot.
I'm blanking on his name. He started against Myles Garrett the first game and got absolutely destroyed. Shout out Matt Nagy.
He was so not impressive that none of us can remember who it was.
Well, he had a great career. I just can't remember him here with the Bears. But the point is, like, that you haven't had it there. I'll take anybody. If you could give us some reps at left tackle that were elite, I'd love to see you out there, Tommy.
That shit ain't happening.
To me, I do think that, I know Coach said that, you know, you're going to give everybody an opportunity. But Ozzie's the only guy here who's a Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles guy. Karan Amagaji's a Ryan Poles guy. Yeah. Braxton Jones is a Ryan Poles guy.
Yeah,
you have a natural leg up in that situation.
Look, if Braxton Jones proves to be the best option at left tackle, I want Braxton Jones there. I'm just saying, if in a perfect world, what would suit the team best is that Ozzie Trapillo would grab a hold of that role and not let it go.
Did get the first reps too with the first team today, so maybe that a little bit of an indication that, you know, they like what they saw from him at minicamp. Hey, you gave him reps over a guy who, I know it wasn't great, but who played in the NFL last year.
Well, he's going to be standing next to a guy who's arguably the best, or maybe at least top 3 guards in all the National Football League in Joe Tooney. So that is tremendously beneficial for a young offensive tackle to have somebody of that quality and that caliber standing next to you,
Yeah, you want them learning that as quickly as possible. Yeah. Let's finish it out with this time. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. The most coveted conversation in football right now. We got a backup quarterback controversy, Tommy?
No, I don't think so.
You think Case Keenum took snaps with the twos today? I was a little shocked to see that. I thought Tyson Bagent, it's kind of his job. He's been that guy the last couple of years. He was taking snaps with the three. He was killing them, but, it's Tyson Bagent. We know he's better than the threes.
Yeah, I don't think so. It was a bit of a surprise to me when they signed Case. Not because I don't think he's a good player. I think he is. He's a very accomplished player in this league and certainly would fill the role of backup quite well. But I think there's a true appreciation for Tyson Bagent. I think you don't see any of the huddle problems with him,
No.
He's buttoned up. Now, does he have the arm that some guys in the league possess, including Caleb? Maybe not, but he's got a great understanding of what's being done. He's a student of the game. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think Case is here to kind of help out with the development of Caleb Williams and even in Tyson as well. But I may be wrong, but I think Tyson Bagent has got a step up. I think he's on the depth chart, probably ahead of Case at this point.
Is there maybe even a little bit of
Jesus too, Pat? Like, if I don't care about the second team quarterback, I want our first team quarterback to play well.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is there maybe even a little bit of a, when he ends up pulling Caleb out, old man, go show him how it's done.
Maybe so.
A little bit of, let me rub your nose in it a little bit.
I got no problem with that. But when the lights get bright, I don't want to have a quarterback conversation other than, hey, this guy's our number one and he's playing well. My God.
I love it. Hey, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Love having Tommy on the pod every time.
It's going to get better out there for the offensive fans out there.
I am truly not worried. I think the thing is that
I loved it. I thought I giggled like a kid.
I wish you guys could have seen it in person, or at least that we could have had cameras on it. It was truly, I've given you enough chances.
Yeah.
Get out of my practice.
And again, I don't mean to be disrespectful to Caleb because I think it's going to be a very nice relationship between him and his head coach. Yeah. But, when all the guys stood in front of the cameras last year and said, we need to be held accountable or we need to be coached harder, day one, you got exactly what you asked for. And to me, that's fantastic. It's not a negative. It's a positive. And look, a lot of that stuff needs to be cleaned up sooner rather than later. So if you let it slip on day one, it's never going to get addressed. And I was glad that they addressed it today.
And that's the big thing. We're not letting it slip on day one. Ben Johnson is calling it out. I can't wait to see Dennis Allen get after somebody. We know he can get after him.
Yeah.
When you start the day off with an interception, the defense.
I thought that was going to be the story. I thought everyone was going to be talking about that first day of camp, the first throw.
There's a lot of people doing that. I saw Jackson Dart do that today too. I saw a lot of quarterbacks.
Okay, well, Jackson Dart's going to do that much more frequently than Caleb is. Okay, don't compare Caleb with Jackson Dart. All right.
I'm just saying, in camp, I've seen that already a lot.
Listen, I'll go back to something I said earlier. I don't mind the interception totals going up.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's actually trying these throws and learning from them. You give me 29 touchdowns and 13 interceptions and you win games, I'm better with that than 20 touchdowns and 5 picks.
You got to take the chances to win.
Yes.
It's one of the skill sets that I thought
you're going to make. You're going to make mistakes. A good throw may be intercepted by a great cornerback. So, like I've said about quarterbacks the same way. You have to have thick skin and a short memory.
Yeah, 100%. Caleb, hope you have a short memory from today. Get back out there tomorrow and go be better. It'd be nice to come on a pod once and be like, what a great day from the quarterback.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll happen.
I'm just thinking.
You're scarred, man.
You're
Tommy. A scarred Bears fan.
Tommy, I've started covering this team with Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I was a believer in Justin, but it was like, all right, we still having false starts, 6 weeks into the
we'll check back in. Give me 7 days. If we're having this same conversation 7 days from now, then we'll talk.
You'll be a little bit more concerned.
I'm not concerned.
We'll see what ends up happening, man. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.